I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how to be impeccable with your word. So it's very important to learn how to marshal your language cleanly, clearly, and effectively. Ultimately, you can arrive at a place of impeccability with your word. It's pristine, it's true, and it's binding. Now, there are two easy ways to get started on the path towards impeccability. I practice these myself and have been doing so for years. The first practice is to never say something about somebody else that you wouldn't be willing to say to their face. Let's be honest. We talk about other people. We talk about our friends. We talk about our family. We talk about celebrities. We talk about all kinds of people when they're not around. And if you're talking to somebody, you're talking about somebody in a way that you wouldn't have the courage to talk about them looking them dead in the eye, you shouldn't be flapping your gums, my friend. Even if you think you'll never meet them, even if they're already dead and gone, just don't do it. If you're not willing to say it to their face, then whatever you're about to say is either not your real opinion or it does not carry the strength of conviction, which means you're not really in alignment with yourself when you talk like that. So anytime I find myself speaking about somebody else, a third party who's not present, I imagine that they're actually sitting right next to the person that I'm talking to. And this is useful because generally what I do say about other people behind their backs tends to get back to them. And I might eventually be in a situation where I will have to be willing to repeat my comments to their face. Now, keep in mind that I'm not saying that you have to say nice things about everybody. Certain people I would have no problem telling off. But I have to make that decision consciously. And if I do say something about somebody else, I have to sort of expect that it will eventually get back to them. Okay, so that's the first practice. The second practice to help you towards impeccability is to never say something that you wouldn't want quoted in the newspaper. Don't use words. Don't use phrases. Don't use language that, if it were quoted in the newspaper or put on the 10 o'clock news or released for the entire world to see on the internet, that you would feel embarrassed that people knew that you spoke that way. And I don't mean just people in general. I mean your third grade teacher, your priest, your grandmother. Would these people be embarrassed on your behalf to learn that's how you speak in private? In this practice, you move toward an ethical way of speaking by reducing the difference between your public and private speech. This cultivates integrity. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you have to be nice all the time, but it does kind of force you to speak more intentionally because by saying anything at all, you run the risk of disagreement, offense, and conflict. And if you're voicing opinions that you would subsequently retract under social pressure, then you really had no business voicing those opinions in the first place, did you? By standing with your word, you may need to make a stand further down the road. So don't talk in a way that will embarrass yourself if your words were universally known. Okay, so those are my two tricks to get started towards impeccability. Never say something about somebody else that you wouldn't be willing to say to their face, and never say something that you wouldn't want quoted in the newspaper. Let me know how it goes. Please like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm. And please see the About tab for more information on donations and consultations. Thanks for listening.